Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show on a Monday.
Pickle's riding the struggle bus, guys.
I'm
Pickle,
riding the struggle bus.
you had some bad crawfish?
Yeah, I had about 36 hours of food poisoning this weekend, so that was fun.
Pickle walked into the office at about 10:30 carrying a blue Gatorade, and I was like, oh boy, it's a tough scene.
Yeah, I have eaten a tortilla in the past 36 hours.
So I'll do most of the talking today.
I'm so hungry.
I'll do most of the talking today, per usual. All right, a few different things. First of all, a shout out to Albany coach Denny Faith. Albany coach Denny Faith is, of course, a legend.
Yeah.
A guy that we love around here.
Good guy.
And good dude. Got his questionnaire today.
Okay.
Got his questionnaire in the mail today. I'm going to think about that. So for those who don't know, we need a questionnaire from every coach in the state. That's how we get the information for the 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, thanks to the hundreds of coaches who have already sent it in. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Anyway, but upwards of 95% of coaches fill it out online. We have an online form for you to fill it out. We used to mail the questionnaire out to coaches. We used to mail a copy of the questionnaire with a return envelope already stamped and everything for you to return. We don't do that anymore because, coaches are pretty digitally savvy at this time.
Mm-hmm. Or they at least have a person on their staff who is digitally savvy.
Exactly right. But we do send a PDF. Like I send a PDF of the questionnaire in case. So I just want, and some coaches like to fill it out by hand. And so what they'll do is they'll print it out. They'll fill it out by hand. Then they'll scan it and email it to me. And yeah, all works, all the same. Coach Faith, who's an old school brother, Coach Faith printed it out, filled it out, got an envelope, filled out the envelope, got a stamp,
and mailed it back?
And mailed it back to us.
That's what's up.
And I got to be honest.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That may be the only one we get. Because you know who else used to do that was Cornell Thompson. But Cornell Thompson is retired. That might be the only one we get like that. So shout out Denny Faith.
That's awesome.
In other weekend news. Very high.
Yeah, your chair's a little high there.
So Sunday. Yesterday was Sunday.
Yes.
We went to I took Hank to a birthday party.
Oh man.
It was actually a mutual friend of ours, a mutual colleague of ours, Patrick Madrowski, our buddy, who's he's the producer of the Emmy Award-winning producer of High School Scoreboard Live. His son Augie was turning 3. Happy birthday, Augie!
Happy birthday, Augie!
And so we went to his party. Went to his birthday party. Now they had it at this cool at the clubhouse, kind of in the townhome place that they live, townhome complex that they live in. They have a cool clubhouse that they had rented out. Same place that we went for his first birthday, which was like the last thing we did before the pandemic.
That's very true. Yeah.
So we've all agreed that if something terrible happens in a week,
Augie's not having any more birthdays.
Augie's birthday is canceled forever. No, it's just like I'll just text him every year, and be like, I can't get together with you. Bye.
Bye.
Happy birthday. Anyway, so it's birthday party. There's birthday cake. There's little games around, stuff like that. My son decides to walk into the other room because in the other room is a bookshelf full of books. He's just sitting there reading Thomas the Tank Engine and stuff like that. But it gets worse. Because then we go into another room, kind of a back room, and it's very clear. It's like there's I think there's a pool table in there. Whiteboard. They have meetings in there, stuff like that. And he finds a puzzle.
Oh no!
And he decides to just start doing the puzzle.
No other kids around.
And so no other kids. He's all alone. He's all alone. He's not. I mean, he was not antisocial. I mean, he's a pretty social kid, but like
he just gets too hyped over
if
books and puzzles.
If you give him the opportunity to be like, what if I just spend all this time alone doing puzzles and reading books? He's going to take that option. Like that's his number one favorite thing to do is for you to leave him alone and let him read. He started saying, I'd like some privacy, please.
Oh, gosh. You've got a mess on your hands.
like, for example, this morning he was putting on shoes before school.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, let me help you with your shoes. And he goes, I would like some privacy, please. He just kind of walked around the corner
Do you
and put on
think,
shoes.
am I allowed to say that here? Like, if someone comes up to ask me something that I don't want to do, I can just say, I would like some privacy, please.
No, you're forbidden from saying that. I did it enough at home. Anyway, that was my weekend while Pickle spent the weekend throwing up.
Yeah.
Hit the theme music. Pickle! Hit the air sound. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership. Here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live on texasfootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, all the places, or you'll listen to the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today. Can't keep her on the DL. She's the Duchess of the Dork. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy.
Hi. Today's Monday, March 7th, 2022, 262 days till Thanksgiving. Would you like a 48-year-old or a 66-year-old?
66.
Happy birthday to Bryan Cranston.
Happy birthday, Brian.
Bryan Cranston is of course Walter White from Breaking Bad. He's also Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, okay. See, that one registers in my brain.
Episode 1327. On today's show, guys, we've got headlines
What?
from... Oh, I wrote that wrong. 1,344.
I was like, sometimes I'm like a day off, but I don't think I'm like 27 days off.
1,344. On today's show, guys, on the 1,344th episode, they all run together.
Yeah,
We've
by
done
20.
Here's the thing. We've done 1,344 of them. We've done like 6 good ones. Those
That's
ones
fair.
stick out. Like 804, awesome show.
Yeah.
804 was
We did a
was banger.
7-hour one, which I
That
still don't
episode
know why
1000
anyone
was
ever
good.
watched that.
Episode like 31 was pretty good. All the rest of them,
Trash.
I was pretty checked out. On today's show, guys, we got headlines from across the state, including just a bunch of high school stuff, college stuff. We'll get to all that. Actually, kind of some bummer stuff. I hate to be like that. We had some bummer headlines.
I'm glad you led with them, though, so we can just get them out of the way.
A couple bummer headlines. We'll get to that. In the back half of the show, we're going to be joined by the head coach of the Christoval Cougars, Coach Casey Otho will join us.
That's a lot of C's.
Casey Otho. Christoval Cougars Coach Casey Otho will join us. Talk about his Cougars. Another fantastic year for them. He's really done. I mean, that's a program that he's really helped take to new heights. He's the winningest coach in that program history. They've only been around since '94, but he has lapped the field as far as win total is concerned. They've had their best years under him the past couple of years. But they've got a new test in realignment. We'll talk about that. A couple of new tests. I don't know if you saw the map.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. It's a doozy. We'll talk about that with Christoval coach Casey Otho coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door? Miss Pickle.
We sure do. It was Daniel Agnew, Coach Terry Crawford, Rob Hadaway, and Aaron Arbuckle. Welcome in, fellas. Did Coach get his questionnaire in? Is that what that finger means?
We have the Abbott Panthers questionnaire.
How about that?
Good
job, Coach.
Good job.
We appreciate you, Coach.
That's excellent stuff. If you didn't get it in, we were gonna stop the show until you turned it in.
We know where to find you.
We're just gonna we'll just stare at the camera and be like, we're waiting.
We're waiting.
Refresh the page and stuff. Wait for it to come through. All right, Pickle. Let's talk about some headlines from across the state. And I wish I had more fun, cool, neato things to talk about.
Yeah, none of these first couple ones are very
No, they're
neat.
all kind of bummers. We're going to start with what's happening, what came down this week, or last week rather, from College Station. Texas A&M receiver Damon Demas has been suspended by the university, and he is not with the football program. I think that kind of goes without saying. After his arrest last Saturday, following on assault and domestic family violence charge. I'm going to read here from this story from David Wilson at ESPN. Excuse me.
Whoa.
According to the affidavit, Demas allegedly initiated a verbal argument with his girlfriend before it escalated into a physical altercation, with Demas pushing her head against the wall. I'm sorry, I should give a trigger warning for people. This is tough to hear sometimes. She told officers that she then bit him on the shoulders, at which point he grabbed her and threw her off the bed and onto the floor, which caused some other injuries. So he was arraigned. I want to say that I saw something that he was oh well, what am I trying to say? Damon Demas, when he was being arraigned, that the father of the victim, the alleged victim, was like caught up to him and like assaulted him too, which is obviously it's just a terrible situation there. Damon Demas was the third leading wide receiver for them last year. He caught 15 catches for 235 yards and a touchdown. Of course, he was a big-time prospect coming out in the class of 2020. But Damon Demas has been suspended by the university and is not with the program right now, pending the investigation into this arrest for domestic violence. We will keep you posted on what we hear. That would obviously be a blow to. I know they had high hopes for him. He's kind of that deep threat that they were looking for, but obviously bigger things in football with regards to this. Okie dokie. Another bummer topic. Out in Fort Worth. This came down last week. Kent Waldrop has passed away. He was 67. He was actually a few days short of his 68th birthday. And maybe you don't know the name Kent Waldrop. Kent Waldrop is a former TCU running back. He, back in 1974, was playing in a game, TCU against Alabama, and he was injured that left him paralyzed. Waldrop was, but he's a gentleman who chose to use that in a positive way. He became a big-time advocate for people with disabilities, and I believe he raised tens of millions of dollars to help for paralysis research. He served on the national. This is pretty remarkable. He served on the National Council on Disability during the Reagan and George H.W. Bush administrations.
Oh wow! And
this is kind of amazing. He helped draft the Americans with Disabilities Act, which if for example, if you go see a handicap spot in a parking lot, there are very specific every parking lot has to have X number. They have to be this wide. They have to have these types of things, as far as ramps are concerned, for basically to help people with disabilities get around in the world and be treated relatively, being treated as equally as possible. Kent Waldrop helped to draft that legislation, which is pretty amazing. He also chaired the Texas Rehabilitation Commission and the Grant Committee for the College Football Assistance Fund that provides financial aid to football players who suffer serious injuries. Jeremiah Donati, the TCU athletic director, put out a statement afterwards. But sad news there at Kent Waldrop, who was obviously a good football player, but probably best known for what he did after football. Passed away. He was 67. This came down last week. Okay, the NCAA is looking into a couple of potential rule changes. They are looking into the NCAA Football Rules Committee said on Friday that there's a couple of rules they're looking into. One of them would allow conferences to appeal targeting fouls that were called in the second half of games in order to avoid the carryover penalty of sitting out the first half. So presently, if you are playing in a college football game and you are ejected in the second half of a game, then you are then suspended for the first half of your next game. So if you're in game one and you get kicked out in the fourth quarter, you would then have to sit out the first half of game two. They are apparently, if a team believes a targeting call was erroneous, its conference would be able to submit a request to the NCAA's National Coordinator of Officials for review. If it's obvious the player was incorrectly penalized, the call would be overturned and the player would be cleared for the first half of the next game. So there's nothing they can do in there. They already review these targeting calls, but then they can have a secondary review kind of over the course of like a little bit more time to take a look at it, instead of trying to get a game on there. So you may be able to avoid sitting out the first half of your next game. That's one thing they're proposed there. The other one is kind of funny. And Steve Shaw, who is the NCAA's coordinator of officials, said that the Rules Committee spent more time talking about players feigning injuries than any other issue in the game. Currently, during an injury timeout, the player involved has to sit out for one play. There are accusations of whenever you don't have a timeout or you need to stop the clock, of players suddenly coming down with an injury that causes them to fall down, and we got to stop the game. The group has considered several in-game solutions, including lengthening the amount of time the injured player would have to miss following the timeout, but couldn't come up with one fit perfectly. Instead, the proposed rule would give the school or the conference the ability to contact Shaw to facilitate a video review. Any penalties levied would be up to the conference or schools involved. So that the NCAA is looking into a couple of rules, hopefully to mitigate the amount of fake injuries that are coming down. So anyway, that is the latest from the NCAA. Okay, on to the high school front. Big hire last week, big name hire, and actually our Dave Campbell's Texas High School football insider Matt Stepp was here on Friday, and he alluded to it. But Salado ISD is going to name Tom Westerberg as their next head football coach on Friday. Or I'm sorry, this was on. They're going to name him on Friday. Tom Westerberg is best known, probably. He's most recently been the Hayes Consolidated ISD athletic director. Before that, he was the head coach at Barbers Hill. Before that, do you remember where he was?
Allen.
That's right. He was the head coach of the Allen Eagles during their unbelievable run, led them to 4 state championships in 7 years. Of course, the three-peat in 2012-2014 with quarterback Kyler Murray. He is getting back in the game. Matt Stepp mentioned this on Friday's show, that he thought this was a little bit surprising, specifically because he's probably taking at least a little bit of a pay cut to do this.
Absolutely.
But I think that you talk with some coaches, and it's in their blood. They want to be on the side. Tom Westerberg, he can go on the sideline, but he's not coaching. Right? He's the athletic director. He obviously wants to coach again. He also has some history with Salado. He's from there. He's got a house there. And so, yeah, that's certainly something to keep an eye on. He's a big-name coach, 186-34 in his 17 years as a head coach. Pretty
not
darn
a math
good.
major, but that seems pretty good.
One thing that's going to be very interesting, so it came open because Alan Hare left to go be the new head coach at the new school, Killeen Chaparral. Well, under Alan Hare, he's a member of the slot team Mafia. They run the slot team. Tom Westerberg does not run the slot team.
No.
At least not to my knowledge. I know he never ran it at Allen. I almost certain he didn't run it at Barbers Hill. Will they change offensive philosophies? That's something to keep an eye on. But anyway, Salado hiring Tom Westerberg, the new head coach there for the Salado Eagles. Down in south of Dallas, DFW, Corsicana head coach Hal Wasson has retired. Hal Wasson has spent 33 years as a head coach. He was head coach at Italy, San Saba, Pittsburgh, Mejia, Liberty Hill, Keller, Fossil Ridge, and Corsicana. And probably, he was also the athletic director at Irving ISD for a year, but he's probably most notable for being the head coach who took over for Todd Dodge there at Southlake. Carroll led them to a state championship in 2011. He was also an assistant for multiple years under Todd Dodge there at Carroll. But he is he is retired. He's decided to hang him up. 256, 125-3 record. Pretty darn good run there. Of course, his son Chase Wasson was a quarterback there for Southlake Carroll as well. Certainly wish Coach Wasson, who's been a good friend of Dave Campbell's Texas football, the best. Did I ever tell you my Chase Wasson story?
No.
I was at a 7-on-7 tournament a couple of years ago and ran into Chase and his family. He was there with a couple of his kids, and for some reason, he was like, "Oh, this kid was like, I want to say 7 or so, and he was like, "Oh, you got to get a picture with Mr. Tepper." I'm like, "This is no, you don't.
You really
I promise
don't.
you, just because they will put anybody on TV." But we'll get the picture. I just start chatting it up, and he goes, "Now, where'd you go again?" And I go, "Yeah, I went to Coppell." He's like, "Oh, yeah, we used to beat you guys all over the place." I was like,
Yeah,
thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Appreciate it,
I'm aware.
I noticed. Anyway, Hal Lawson, certainly wish him the best in retirement. Jasper has made a hire. You may remember that Jasper was looking for a head coach, and they have they were looking for a head coach. They have found one in an alum, Kendrick Crumity, rather. The offensive coordinator for Manville is coming home to take over at Jasper. This is he's going to be the athletic director and head football coach. He's a 2003 grad of Jasper. He's from that part of the world. He went to Sam Houston. I think it was then Sam Houston State. He's only worked at Manville. He was hired straight out of college in 2011. He rose to the offensive coordinator job. He's been a part of a number of deep playoff runs, taking over a Jasper program that's ready to win right now. And yeah, so Jasper has hired one of their own in Kendrick Crumity, taking over there at Jasper.
Jasper has an elite logo, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
The use of the Texas sketched in is... Mwah.
Finally, Prosper Rock Hill has their second head coach in program history.
Yep.
You may remember a couple of weeks ago, it was actually relatively surprising.
It was pretty surprising. It caught us all off guard.
That Mark Umble, the head coach there at Prosper Rock Hill, was resigned there at Rock Hill. He led them to a 5-5 record in 2021. It was just their second year playing football. He resigns. They have now promoted from within their defensive assistant coach, Mark Wilkinson, to be the second head coach at Prosper Rock Hill. So they have their second head coach of the Blue Hawks all time in Mark Wilkinson taking over at Prosper Rock Hill. Of course, we've got you covered at TexasFootball.com for all things news and notes from around the state. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. That's our subscription package. 2 magazines, a year's worth of exclusive online content at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. If you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. We're working right now on the 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. If you are a subscriber, you'll get the magazine mailed to you before it hits newsstands. So TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Also makes a great gift for Easter, for Lent, for St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is coming up. I'll text Coach. If you go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider. Elsewhere, all over TexasFootball.com, make sure you go and check out what we got cooking there. Mike Craven continues to work through his top 10 at the Texas top 10 at each position. Today, he put out the defensive lineman for college football. If you go to TexasFootball.com, you can see all of that. We're trying to get a hold of Casey Otho, the head coach there at Christoval. I texted him. He did say he was in. That was last night, though. Elsewhere, we got an interview up from DJ Hicks, the 5-star defensive end at Allen. If you want to see that, Greg Powers put that together. A lot of other great stuff on TexasFootball.com if you go check out all the stuff we've got cooking over there. I did not have a vamp topic. I was hoping Coach Otho was just going to answer the phone. Anyway. And Pickle's feeling under the weather, so I can't even bounce things off of her either.
He texted me and he said, "Please text me." So I think he might have been waiting for a phone call from your number, so he was blocking mine. I texted him though. Here we go.
There we go. Good. Anyway, we're working on it. Yeah. Good. See, everything works out in the end. I'll just wait for it. Pickle, let's go to the hotline. And let's welcome in the head coach of the Christoval Cougars. We're joined by Coach Casey Otho. Coach, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing excellent. How are things in beautiful Tom Green County?
Cold right now.
Yeah. I'll say. I'm sure you like us had a couple of days of spring, and then kind of
Yeah, it was been nice the last couple of days, and we got a baseball game today, so it's got to be cold, of course.
kind of hit you in the mouth. Coach, let me ask you a little bit about your 2021 season. The standard there at Christoval has been raised, really high in your time there. Obviously, the run to the regional final a year ago. You guys get a real tough draw with Burton in the first round of the playoffs. Fundamentally a district champion that ended up playing in fourth place. I'm interested. You guys finished 9-2. When you take a look at what you guys were able to accomplish in 2021, how do you assess what you guys were able to do?
Well, I think our record doesn't justify or reflect of what kind of team we had. We play a third-round game in the first round of the playoffs. No excuses there. We lost by 1 point. The things we could have done different, we look back on, and maybe it's us playing Fall City again for that regional final instead of Burton. But either way, I'm proud of the guys, and like I said, I don't think our record really reflected the kind of team we had, and it kind of keeps us. That whole taste in your mouth kind of keeps us hungry and gets us ready for next year and looking forward to it.
You've been there for 6 seasons there at Christoval, and the program, as I mentioned, has kind of gone to new heights. You're the winningest coach in the program's kind of brief history. I'm interested. How do you think this program has changed, maybe since you arrived back in 2016?
Well, what we kind of came in and installed was a different standard of what we were looking for at a football player in a football program, and we kind of put it out there to the guys, and they've really accepted it. We make football important around here, and not to say it wasn't important before, but it's come a long ways. With the community and everything, it's something people look forward to and people just want to be a part of.
Talking with Casey Otho, the head coach of the Christoval Cougars here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. All right, Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about your 2020, your 2022 season, a little bit. This is a program that obviously has high expectations. You guys are going to bring back about 12 starters from last year's squad. Do you have a feeling quite yet on how this team in 2022 will be different from your 2021 squad?
Well, that's the question that people ask on every year, and standard coach speak is we're going to be the same, we're going to be better, we're going to be stuff like that. But I really feel like what we've developed here, the coaching staff, and like I said, these kids. I really don't look on who's returning, who's not. I'm just ready for, these guys to get out there. And a lot of kids, we have a great JV program, and they lost 1 game last year. These guys are going to have new faces, and they're ready to prove that, that they're capable of continuing our tradition. So, like I said, I don't look at it as like we're losing a bunch of good players, but I just feel like we're always gaining players, and each player is unique, and they're going to bring something special to the table.
On the defensive side for you guys, I know you're an offensive guy, but the defensive side has really shined the last couple of years. Most notably this past year, with you guys had the district defensive newcomer of the year, Nikolai Nelson. You've had some outstanding playmakers like Sebastian Salinas. What has it been about the last 2 years defensively that has worked for you guys?
Well, Coach Downey, our defensive coordinator, we work together really well. We kind of came up with this, this mentality where we want to build our defense with the best players we got. And then not to say those players don't play both sides of the ball, but we try. For the last 4 years, I've had 2 linebackers that don't do anything but play defense. We try to build around that. A lot of teams at our level and things like that, they try to get the best players on offense and then, try to hold it together with the defense. And we're kind of vice versa on that. We want to, be able to make stops and things like that because we have playmakers on the offense that I feel like we can score points anytime we want. But as far as holding people and things like that, we emphasize, that's where you want to be chosen. You want to be chosen as that defense, as that player, as that starter on defense, because, like I said, that's holding people on the football field it's kind of a thing of the past. So we kind of want to bring it back to the future.
Well, one of the guys that I know you're really excited to bring back into the fold is your all district running back. You got a variety of them, but catcher Joyner, most notably, is going to be back after a really nice junior season. I know he's going to have to take a bigger role with the graduation of the district MVP and Josh Fava. But when you take a look at catcher Joyner and what he brings to the table, what do you see? What sets him apart?
Well, catcher's really excited about taking over that role. There's some things that like I said, a lot of coaches don't do the things we do, and I think that's what makes this program unique. Is we adjust on our season, our offense and our defense, according to the kind of players we have, the skill we have, the set we have. So yeah, we're going to do a lot of the same thing, but I'm going to make sure that catcher's put in the best position he can to be successful. I mean, Josh had some skill set that catcher doesn't have, and vice versa. So, like I said, we're going to do everything we can to make sure catcher is successful. And I really like the thing that we have going here is we kind of have, quote unquote, a running back kind of started. We got a lot of underclassmen. I got a couple of good running backs that played JV last year. They're really good, and they're going to be really hungry and things like that, which, if you got those kind of returners all the time, and it started back in 2016, 2017 when we had kids that, hey, I want to be like him on the varsity. And that thing has kind of continued on, and people take pride in those positions and things like that. And we don't have to beg people to be running backs, that's for sure.
Yeah, talking with Casey Otho of Christoval here on Texas Football Today. All right, Coach, let's address the elephant in the room, and that's the realignment package you guys got a couple weeks ago. You guys are on the move up. You guys are moving from 2A Division 2 to 2A Division 1.
Correct.
Let's start there. Does anything change from your perspective? What is it, from within that program, how do you guys approach moving up a classification?
Well, I mean, we've been in Division 1 before. It was only the last couple of years we were in Division 2. But we kind of look forward to it. You get a chance to play different opponents, to beef up your preseason or your pre-district schedule. And that's what we've done is we want to get, as much out of the pre-district schedule as we can in order to prepare us, for Division 1, 2A. So, like I said, we look forward to it. Change of face, change of venue. Change of attitude. Not necessarily so much as the attitude, but I mean, it's going to be a challenge, and it's just something we're going to embrace.
You're also another just interesting wrinkle, just because of where you guys are. They're in the Concho Valley, south of San Angelo, rather. You guys get to make the very rare flip from Region 4 to Region 1, which is a little bit different. You're flipping sides of the bracket. You're flipping, just all sorts of things. Does that play any impact into the way you guys approach next year? And what was the reaction to that decision whenever it came down?
Well, you can take every region 1, 2, 3, and 4, and especially region 2, 3, and 4, and there's a handful of teams, and I mean a very small handful of teams they're going to be, your perennial playoff run, make a run in the playoffs kind of teams. But in Region 1, we've been in Region 1 for a long time, and we just came out of Region 4. It's a different kind of football, and almost not taking anything away from Region 4, or Region 3 or anybody else. But that Region 1 winner is typically they're gonna be in the state championship. It just kind of seems to be that way, and it could change from anybody, from a Wellington to a Stratford, to Winthrop, just all across the board. Region 1's tough. It's tough at the smaller levels, and like I said, if you can get through Region 1, things like that, you're a pretty good football team.
And then finally, there's one other thing we want to address, and that is there's a 6 hour and 11 minute.
It's longer than that.
Elephant in the room, and that is you guys get a date with a program that you guys have played in the past. I think before your time there in Anthony. Anthony, for those who don't know, is the westernmost high school football team in the state. It is
mile marker 1.
Mile marker 1. You said it's longer. It says Google Maps says it's 6 hours 11 minutes. I also know it's a bus, so I understand it's going to take
a bus, lunch, bathroom breaks, stretch your legs. Yeah, it's a good 7.5 hours when it's all said and done.
So how do you approach what is truly one of the most unique situations in Texas, playing games against a program that far flung?
Well, you got to put just during the week, the preparation for that long road trip. Luckily, some of the guys have done it before. And we do it all the time in other sports. Like we play baseball in Fort Hancock. We play basketball in Fort Hancock, which is 40 miles outside of El Paso, or not even that far. So these guys are used to that travel. the unique thing about it is, when we play football, we leave at 8 in the morning, get home at 8 in the morning kind of deal, So, people dread it and they dread it and they dread it. But when it's all said and done, it's something that you can always say, hey, I had to do this. And, it's kind of fun sometimes every now and then to just be a part of something like that.
Yeah. Now, do you drive the bus?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say.
I don't. We usually charter to the Anthony just because of the late start, basketball wise, baseball wise, coaches drive.
Okay. I'm just making sure. So if you guys see somebody burning rubber out there trying to get out west to mile marker 1, it may on a Friday night. It may be the Christoval Cougars and
not this season. Next season.
They're coming.
We drew the straw where we get the home game first.
Okay. All right. So you got a whole year to think about it. There you go.
Yes.
He's Casey Otho. He's the head coach of the Christoval Cougars. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on a fantastic 2021, and looking forward to seeing what you guys do in 2022.
Appreciate you.
There he goes. Christoval head coach Casey Otho joining us here on Texas Football Today. And yeah, that is, somebody we knew going into it that, like, you take a look at Anthony, and they're to say they're on an island is the understatement of the year. I mean, they're the only school in their time zone in 3A Division 1. Like this, or 2A Division 1 rather. And they had to go somewhere. And this is the most logical place for them to go. They're kind of the Concho Valley, kind of Permian Basin type area there. And yeah, but Christoval is, to me, you take a look at their district, that it's a tough move, right? To move up in classification. I don't think they're scared of anybody, but they're in a very strange district in that obviously there's Anthony, right? And that's its own challenge there in 2A Division 1. But you take a look at District 3, they're also getting Sonora, who's a 3A Division 2 drop-down.
Sonora's always good, too, let me tell you.
Yeah, they're getting Anthony and Reagan County, who are also 3A Division 2 drop-downs. And then they're getting two programs, Forsan, who is kind of staying put. They kind of built this around Forsan, District 3. And then Ozona, who's also moving from Region 4 over to Region 1. It is a strange mix in 2A Division 1 that it's kind of we got to put them somewhere type district. And by moving Christoval over from Region 4 to Region 1, I think Coach kind of said it well. These regions have different personalities. These regions play football in different ways. And so interested to see what they do. I think they're going to be the favorite. If you're asking me right now who the favorite there is, I'd say it's Christoval. Maybe it's, it'll be Christoval, Forsan, and Sonora, in my opinion, are the top three there. But we'll see. And moving up classification is not easy. We'll see how it goes, but they've got a fair amount coming back. If they can get the same kind of running game they got last year, then from Josh Fava, then they're going to be in business. But we appreciate Coach Casey Otho from Christoval hopping on with us. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts. We can keep this brief.
I was just going to ask, can you imagine as a high schooler having to take a 7-hour bus trip just to go play? It's one thing. A district game. I was going to say, it's one thing in my mind for football. But from a person who played basketball, I know for a fact driving down to Taylor or Salado and stuff for us was about a 2.5. It was about a 3-hour drive through and through. And it's on a Tuesday night basketball game, that's insanely hard to do, is go even 3 hours. I can't imagine.
Think about volleyball.
Yeah. You're going to maybe play 3 sets. Maybe. It's not guaranteed. That's crazy.
It's wild. Anyway. We appreciate Coach Casey Otho hopping on with us. It's good for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Casey Otho of Christoval for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.